everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to talk to you guys a little bit about brick and mortar stores versus an internet or exclusively online store. If I had to pick one or the other, I would go internet, because it's like you reach in today's age you can reach such a broad international audience with basically a free website. Like, you can set something up for free on Weebly and start making international sales right now, like today, like if that's something that you decide to do. Not to mention there's also outlets like Etsy, Artfire, Amazon Marketplace, eBay. I mean, there's more options than I could list off. I mean, but for at least Randy and I's purposes, for those of y'all who don't know, Randy's my business partner and life partner and everything. He's awesome. But we've been asked many times over the years if we have, a brick and mortar store. And for us, we've found with what we do, non-perishable, essential, like jewelry and costumes are completely luxury items. So we would tap out our market, like our client base, very quickly. I have quite a bit of experience actually working at someone else's store before Randy and I started our business. And that was something that they were a very niche market in a small town that did not have it's not like it was a quaint tourist town where people were coming in all the time from other cities. It was there was Sir's Fabric, which a lot of people would travel in for. We still stop there and it's 9 hours away. But it wasn't enough of a draw to get people to drive 2 hours from, Nashville or, Tullahoma or Chattanooga, or, just the demographic. They were very limited in who they were able to sell to. Randy and I found that being able to travel exposed us to a fresh market every weekend that we were out and about. So that's something that has really helped us. So even though we had the expenses of hotel, gas, vehicle maintenance, eating while we were out on the road, so much stuff, not to mention the booth fees and registration for vending at these different events, the expenses rack up pretty quickly. But if you choose as wisely as you can, it's always a gamble picking what event to vend at. But if you choose wisely and the stars are lined up to work in your favor, then we ended up making way more than what we were selling consignment or commission, out of local shops where there just wasn't a fresh market. Because it's, you might get an initial wave of oh, it's a new store, let's go in. But, unless it's people's birthdays or maybe a gift giving holiday coming up, there's not really a whole lot of incentive to keep people coming in weekly or daily or monthly, and so, now that being said, Randy and I's business is changing very much, and that's something that I just talk about, the things that have worked for Randy and I, the things that we've considered. Take what we're saying and adapt it to your situation and your purposes. Rent for prime real estate, in a downtown area of a city for a building, can be exorbitant. So much money. And you have to make that back before you can even start making a profit. So, there's that to keep in mind. But Randy and I have considered a little bit the possibility of one day having a brick and mortar store, maybe where we could teach classes out of, or maybe also sell beads and materials and things. It's just, there's no telling what the future holds, so I don't want to rule anything out. But I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about one of my fantasies for our business, and that is if we were to have a brick and mortar store, the store that I helped sell at, I was an employee there, I guess. It was the two owners, and then I was the employee. it's the downstairs area was all the retail space. There was like a little like mini kitchen in the back. But then the upstairs, like the apartment area, it was an apartment area where they had 2 big rooms. One of them was like the living area, which had it was like a nice hotel room. So it had like a bed and a table and a sitting area and everything. And a complete bathroom. But then the other 2 rooms were just filled up with their backstock inventory, and it's also where they did their like candle pouring and different things like that. And I really liked it. Like, I haven't looked at any other real estate in a downtown type setting where it's like buildings and, you know, like storefronts with apartments above them. But it's something that Randy and I might consider. Would be to have studio space, like a studio storefront for the downstairs area where we might not be open for daily sales, but it would give us some place to record our videos. Hush puppies. Sorry, the neighbor's dog is barking. Hush puppies. But downstairs studio space, like display windows where we could teach classes and like you know, all sorts of stuff. Again, I realize the reality of it would probably be much more complicated and difficult. And then the upstairs would be the studio apartment space where we could actually like live. So it'd basically be like our house now, only we'd have to put pants on and have people come into the house to take classes. But and then if I could have a rooftop garden on top of that, like, I don't know. It never hurts to be super specific in your fantasies and dreams, because that way, you know, leave some room, wiggle room and stuff, but never hurts to ask. But I think for me, that would be pretty cool. What do you think of all that, Randy? He's just looking at me like, what? But no, we've talked about it before, and he seemed like that could be something that we do with our life. So it's, again, I wanted to emphasize, we're not at all ruling out the possibility of having a brick and mortar store, but we would have to live in a sizable enough city to constantly have new people coming in, you know, just to keep sales up enough to be able to offset that tremendous expense of the real estate itself. Not to mention restocking, like just all the different things. And we don't want to ever rule out doing conventions too. Like, we anticipate doing 1 convention a month for the rest of our lives. Like, that would be really cool. We really like the convention scene. We really enjoy getting to go out and people in person. You know, we like our you know, hand out business cards in person, you know, do the jewelry and costumes for folks. Like, the whole experience of being at a convention is wonderful, and we've had so much fun with it for the past decade that I'd really like to see. If conventions have evolved a lot in the past 10 years, I'm excited to see what they're going to be like in another 10. And so it's nice to be able to kind of sit back and be along for the ride on that one. But also, we've only been doing YouTube for about a year now, and it's completely changed our business dynamic. So we'll see how that goes too. So there's no telling what the future holds. Like, and I keep saying that, but I'm like so ecstatic. And so I do want to be helpful to y'all in the decisions that you might be making for well, should I open a brick and mortar store, or should I go on the road with my business? A lot of it is, I would look at your current resources. Do you have a large enough vehicle to be able to fit your inventory in? Jewelry is pretty easy because it's small stuff, you know, and you can display it out to make it look big. For years, Randy and I fit our whole display, our whole 10 by 10 booth setup into a 4-door Chrysler Sebring. So, you know, it is a family car, like it's a 5-seater. Like, it's going to be hard to fit your booth into a sports car. If you can do it though, go for it. But, you know, for years, that's how we functioned. Our business, you know, was out of a car. We often rode where I had a bunch of stuff in my lap, and we could never take any helpers or anything with us because it just wasn't an option. But yeah, if sorry, I brain farted so hard. If you already have a vehicle, If you have, like, just check out some local craft shows. Like that's how we got started into this, is we did a local craft show and it went really well. And while we were there, we met some other, artisans and crafters and stuff. And they told us about another craft show that was coming up the next month, and we were able to call them. That's how long ago this was. Not everybody had a website back then. We were able to call them, and they mailed us an application because there were still spaces available, which usually nowadays, whenever we book our 2018, like right now it's 2017 at the time of recording, I'm booking 2018 now, and it's September. So it's like we're already applying to places, we're sending off payments, we're getting everything lined up because it fills up fast. Stop barking at everything. Holy crap, I know you're a dog and stuff, but come here. It's hard being a dog. And kind of get some experience selling out of a booth setup, because your store, if you decide to go the route of a brick and mortar storefront, or even having a booth or an exhibit area in someone else's gallery or someone else's store, the experience from vending is going to trickle over and help you out with that. Sales are sales, whether you're in a store situation or whether you're in a booth situation. Yeah, I think I've covered, I don't know, that brain fart really derailed me. If y'all have any questions, like, I kind of wanted to just get the conversation started, and then y'all can leave your questions down in the comment area, and I can reply to you and answer your questions kind of more specifically. So yeah, to recap all of it, if you're starting out and you don't have a bunch of money to put on a down payment to either buy or rent a storefront, I really recommend, and even if you do decide that you are going to go to the storefront route, maybe rent a car that can, rent a van that can fit your whole booth setup in it, and go and try out, do conventions or vend craft shows or whatever medium you find works for you. Go and do that for a year, possibly two. Work out all the kinks, work out your product line, kind of feel everything out before establishing a brick and mortar. And there's nothing saying that you can't do both too. It's going to take more people resources, but there's nothing like having a home base to come back to, or even to have like a place for people to like pilgrimage to and be like, oh, well, we're going to be in this city, so we're going to stop here for this thing. That'd be pretty cool. So thanks you guys so much for hanging out with me and for chatting with me. I hope that this was helpful, or at least got your own brain juices going so that you can kind of think more about what you're going to be doing for your business. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments or ideas, please leave them down in the comment area below, or you can find me on Facebook, but I kind of prefer to keep it all down below. That way people can go through and read other people's ideas, and stuff, get that kind of community going. If you enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, as well as participate in my fairy house giveaways and monthly craft crates and all sorts of different things, please check me out on Patreon. Again, links down below, but there also should be a bubble popping up on one of the sides of the screen that takes you to a video that talks in detail about how to become a patron and the different benefits of doing that. So thanks guys. I do hope that this was helpful. I feel like I just rambled for 10 minutes, but love y'all. Bye.